So Marshall just released their slightly thicker 2nd gen Willen speaker, and as you can tell, it looks almost identical to the previous version with a couple small changes, but just like the previous one, it's still on the expensive side for such a small speaker, in my opinion, considering the new JBL Go 4 is about half of that price. However, I think some of you will be surprised once you listen to both of these right next to each other. In case you didn't know, the JBL Go 4 was slightly redesigned from the JBL Go 3, but the Marshall speaker is still a little bit larger overall. Both have an IP67 dust and waterproof rating, and both have a really nice build quality, as you would expect from these two companies. They both use a rubberized material covering most of the speaker. They just feel like they're going to be pretty durable, almost like you could toss these across the room without damaging either one. One big difference though between these two is going to be the controls. You've got the updated style of the silicone buttons on the JBL Go 4, which are pretty easy to use. Marshall also added buttons on the top now, making it more user-friendly. Plus you still have the metal control knob on the front, which is an all-in-one by pushing it in or left and right to go to the next song and so on. To me, the metal knob on the Marshall speaker definitely feels a little more premium, but overall they both do a nice job making these speakers easy to use and easy to pair through Bluetooth. You can also pair multiple speakers using Auracast, which is still a pretty new technology that may or may not catch on, so we'll have to see how that goes. You can also use a mobile app for each speaker if you want to have even more control. One advantage for the Marshall Willen 2 is you have a built-in microphone that you can take calls with, where the JBL Go 4 doesn't have that. You also get a lot better battery life on the Willen now that it goes up to 17 hours versus technically up to 7 hours on the JBL Go 4. Although to me, it really doesn't sound that good when using the playtime boost mode to get that extra 2 hours. The JBL Go 4 takes about 3 hours to charge back up. Pretty similar for Marshall, closer to 2.5 hours. But to me, the most interesting part of comparing these two is just how they sound. I do feel the Marshall speaker probably has a better balance, but the JBL Go 4 sounds really good for such a small, affordable speaker, and it has better bass as well. You could even get 2 JBL Go 4s for the price of one Marshall Willen 2 speaker. For this next part, you'll want to use headphones, but hopefully these short clips can give you an idea just to see if you can tell a difference.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you can get.
And I don't know if you can tell from these samples, but the JBL speaker sounds really good for the size. Now, of course, depending on what things are more important and which types of music you listen to the most, could make you lean towards one over the other. Plus, the battery life is so much better on the Marshall speaker, so that could be a big deciding factor as well. The other thing that was sort of surprising to me is the Marshall Willen 2. Sounds almost identical to the Willen 1, so you could even go for the first gen speaker to save money there. Now, surprisingly, sometimes the JBL speaker sounds a little louder, sometimes the Marshall sounds a little louder, but it's definitely a lot closer than I was expecting. But considering how much cheaper the JBL speaker is, it's definitely better value than you get with the Marshall Willen 2.